Last summer, I took my kids out to go take a look at Windermere. We were actually on our way to do something else. We were going to go pick blackberries at Sandpoint Elementary School, which is the school near there where my mom went when she was a kiddo. And they have really good blackberries in the backyard. And we were driving out that way and we couldn't get into the school. The fence was locked. So we were right next to Windermere, and I thought, hey, this would be a great opportunity to show the kids a little bit about what I do and take advantage of this trip, make it not a dead end after all. So as you can see here in the screen, the kids are doing some camera work. We are driving down Sandpoint Way, which is the road that we go from my house, which is the north end of Lake Washington, down to Windermere. Let me show you on the map real quick what is going on. So this highlighted area is Windermere, and then you can see Magnuson Park is over here. We go there at the end of the video. So if you live here, you want to go to the park, of course. And then Laurelhurst is another very nice neighborhood adjacent to it. And I actually just last month did another video on Laurelhurst. So we'll try to get those linked up. I live up here at the north end of the lake. So how we get there is we go on Lake City Way, and then we zip over here, taking a diagonal along Sandpoint Way. And so if you work in downtown Seattle, you would probably come over to I-5 and head down this way, or you could take back roads. But the big fun employers nearby are the University of Washington, which is right here. Right here you see the little hat. That's the University of Washington. And there's also Children's Hospital. So this is the main campus for Children's Hospital. And so if you were like a surgeon or in pediatrics, a specialist, you would be right here. So it's very close to this Windermere and Laurelhurst area, Ravenna. So we get a lot of doctors and professor types. There's also the University of Washington Hospital right here. So that's a lot of the people who want to live close into this area and who make this a fairly expensive place to live. Home prices in the Windermere neighborhood range from about $1.5 million to $3.5 million. At least that's what's been going on in the last 6 months or so here in 2024. And granted, it's an HOA-protected community. If you don't want to live in Windermere but around it, then these are the types of homes that you could expect to enjoy. This is a pretty quiet street. It's 30 miles per hour. Back when we were going out here every Sunday evening for dinner at my grandma's, it's kind of known as a speed trap. My dad would have to slow way down in order to drive out here, but it's a nice view, or it's a nice drive. There are occasionally views of Lake Washington on the left, and it's pretty flat. It's pretty slow. You don't feel like you're rushing around. You feel like you're going on the twists and turns and taking it easy as a way of life. And then as you get down south of Windermere, it gets a little bit busier with proximity to the University of Washington. There's good bus access all along this street. You might have seen some buses, and you'll see some more later. But if you enjoy the idea of public transportation, you can make it out here to this road. You can catch the bus. And what else? Oh, there's also the Burke-Gilman Trail. So this is a running, walking, biking trail that goes to the University of Washington. It goes north around the lake to Bothell-Kenmore area. This is the school. We made it to Sandpoint Elementary School and it was closed. So boo-hoo, we decided to change our plans and we're going to go on to Windermere now. But yeah, so if you like the idea of jogging or biking in, say, to the University of Washington, that's very doable from here. There's great shopping at the U Village Shopping Center. I have another video on that. You can see what that's like. Luxury in and outdoor shopping, mostly outdoor shopping. Starbucks, Playground, Mac store, Restoration Hardware, Peloton store, like everything fancy, all the good brands, Lululemon. So we're coming down the hill. Across on the video now, you'll see a bus stop. So it's right there, kind of at the foot of the hill as you exit Windermere. And then this big building in the back is the National Archive. So off we go along the street. The archives are on the right and Windermere is on the left. You can see how big that building is, all the records that must be in there. I've never been inside. It's a nice street with a boulevard here. It's very dry. It's the summer. A lot of times we don't spend money and resources and water things. We stay green by going brown. And now we're going up the hill into Windermere. You can see these cool new construction townhomes going in on the left. And Windermere is pretty hilly. It's one of the advantages, I guess. You get a better view of the water when you're up on a hill. And you can see some of the houses are very new construction, but in the heart of Windermere itself, I think the area was developed in the post-war. So my grandparents bought their lot here right after they got back from World War II. Look at that huge house, beautiful, very modern. But we have a lot of like shorter, low-lying, mid-century modern homes that we'll come up to in the heart of it. So Bill Gates' dad, I don't know if he lived in that exact house, but he lived here. Bill Gates, whatever, the second, maybe he was. There's another farmhouse-style home, very beautiful, up on the hill there. And we're about to crest the hill. We'll see my grandparents' little mid-century modern home on the right, and we'll look down at the top of the hill. You can begin to see some of the views from the views of Lake Washington. So Grandma and Grandpa, he was 18, Pearl Harbor happened. He went into the war. When the war was over, he came back and finished up school, went to law school, and they bought their house here as like kind of a soggy lot. So I'm thinking that must have been right around 1950, 1952, something like that. And it was like probably a cheaper lot because it didn't have good drainage. He would actually track down other construction sites with fill dirt and bring it home and fill the lot. This is my grandparents' home. They sold it for $1 million probably about 20 years ago. Carport, no garage. They really liked that room on the top there by that board railing there. That was their office. It was an addition. The whole carport and that room were an addition. They really enjoyed sitting there, listening to the radio, watching Murder, She Wrote on TV, knitting, reading the newspaper. There's a little park on the left. This hill was one year we went sledding, I want to say, inner tubing. And so because it's on a hill, it gets a little bit more snow than some of the other areas. And it started snowing. It was Thanksgiving, which was pretty early for us to get snow here in this area. And so, of course, with the hills, nobody goes out driving. It's very like stay in. It was a holiday. Like it's just perfect, very atmospheric. And so we got our big inflatable, these are like car tire style inner tubes, and blew them up and went sledding down the hill. But look how low-lying these homes are. A lot of ramblers. There's a basketball court. They must have a couple lots for this one. They just said, we're going to buy all the land. But this is the classic, what we're looking at here on these streets, the classic Windermere 1950s mid-century modern type of construction. You can see the little light posts are still original. Reminds me of the lamp posts in the Chronicles of Narnia, like Mr. Tumnus waiting by the lamp post, kind of like London or something. You can see down there, there's Lake Washington. You can see over here some bigger, more modern style homes. And again, the brown grass, even though this is a HOA-protected community, we have had water rationing in past years, and it's such a like greeny, like environmental friendly type of area. Nobody's going to tell you to like water your lawn. So a lot of people go with the xeriscaping, which is just shrubs and something natural. Or if they do put in a lawn, they let it go dormant during the summer, which is totally fine. Lots of new construction going in here. Nice houses. They let it go completely dormant, and then when it starts raining again in the fall, it perks right back up. The grass is pretty much out and green all winter, unless you don't rake up your leaves and it suffocates, or you don't, if there's a lot of snow for some reason, but that almost would never happen. So lawns do very, very well here, and they can definitely afford a period of no watering over the summer. Our down toward the lake. There's a beach club access down here at Lake Washington. And so my mom used to go there with her friends in the summer. They would jump off the platform. I think they would throw popsicle sticks or something that would float, and then we'd jump off the platform. And here it is. This is the park. I can't get in but there's a sandy beach and a diving platform. There's the sign here that says, let's see. This park is to be enjoyed by members and their guests to keep the park safe and beautiful for all. Please remember that the beach operating hours are from 11 to 7. No dogs are allowed in the park during those hours, but they are allowed in at other hours. Please pick up after your dogs if you do bring them through. And there's no alcohol, no fireworks, but bonfires are permitted if you have staff approval. Anyway, yeah, it's funny. A lot of the people who live in here are just regular people, but there are some that are famous, like Gary Larson, the Far Side cartoonist, who did all like the cows and the dogs, and he did a lot of like one-panel cartoons that were big hit when I was younger, and he had his big run of fame and then bought a house down here on the water. And also the mayor of Seattle owned a house in here, and during I want to say like 2021, when there was, we called it the Summer of Love, there was a fair amount of civil unrest in Seattle. Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone, Chaz, and they had another one, CHOP, was active. They were mad at the mayor, so they came here and protested, and they were out at night like hooting and hollering, blowing horns, making a lot of noise. So that got the kibosh put on it pretty quickly. So, you know, it's not always great to have rich and famous neighbors, but oftentimes it is. It's a very nice community, very safe. You don't have a lot of the, let's call it riffraff coming through, people walking around doing weird things that you might have in some other parts of Seattle. So it's very nice, very scenic. If you want to build something, you have to get it approved by the architectural committee for building or remodeling. There are limitations on that. But as you can see, there's a lot of new construction going in. This is a place where it's worth buying $1 million home and tearing it down and spending $3 million to build your new property. So some really nice homes in here. An evolution, you know, some of the original properties like my grandparents had, they owned it for 50 years. They added on to it, and then some newer ones. And so here you can see we're leaving Windermere. Those two posts are kind of the entryway. They have a Christmas tree that they light up here in winter. And across the street where I was pointing, that's where you can get onto the Burt Gilman Trail right over there. Through that light. And so if you wanted to get on that trail and run or bike down toward the University of Washington or north to Matthews Beach, also along the lake, that's a nice low traffic place to go. When I ran cross country in high school, I would train there when I was staying with my grandparents, and my grandfather was very nervous, so he would drive in his car, and every time the trail would like intersect the road, he would stop and wait and wanted to see me go by, and I would wave, and then he would drive to the next intersection. So he was keeping an eye on. I should have just gone to a track. I don't know why, but he never said anything. He just, that was the way he wanted to do it, to keep me safe. But it's a fairly safe trail, well-traveled trail. Wouldn't necessarily spend a lot of time in the woods on the trail at night, but I have heard things happening in different parts of town that weren't good. But I have never seen or felt any problems while I was on there. I have seen people park next to it that were in RVs, like trailer camping and stuff, which is not ideal, but I never felt threatened by it. Let's see. So now we went a little bit north, and now we're going into the back entrance of Magnuson Park. So this is a big park, and I'm not totally clear on what the history is. There's a big gateway. It looks like a naval station, or you're going onto a military base. It says NOAA, N-O-A-A, which I believe is a weather tracking type of service. But anyway, it's a huge park, and it has access to Lake Washington as well. And it has all these trails, and it has a dog park. So I'm going to just sort of drive you through it. You can get a feel for this space that's here and the lake access, as well as, if this is a resource that you think you would utilize. There's an indoor tennis place here. There's an indoor soccer place. So if you wanted to do any league sports and you didn't like weather, quote unquote, which is 50 degrees, rainy and dark in the winter months, then you could look into those options as well. But you can see how natural it is. It's kind of different kinds of trees and scrub and birds, and it feels like a real sanctuary, a real haven away from other things. So we're coming up here close to the lake. Sorry, can't really read the signs. I hoped I was filming them for you, but it probably talks about where we're located and the boat launch and getting up to Lake Washington and things like that. So this is a Saturday morning, probably around 10 a.m., probably in August, and you can go boating here. We're going to come up there. This guy has his boat on the trailer and he's getting ready to launch it. So if you have a boat that you want to play with, but you don't have space on your land, you can pay to park it at an RV lot, and then you can just trailer it around. The guy that I just sold a house to, that was a huge fisherman. We had to find the right house that had RV parking that could accommodate his boat trailer, because he used the boat multiple times per week and he wanted to have it on site. So here we are, the water is on the right. This is kind of picnic areas and dry grass, stones, so nobody drives onto the grass. Here's another boat that's getting ready to go in. My son went here with a youth group with church a couple years ago, and there was a beach with a lifeguard. He was able to crawl stroke, probably doggy paddle around and pass the test that allowed him to swim out to the little island diving block that they had out there. So that was a fun thing that he felt was an accomplishment. Looks like plenty of parking available. I'm gonna fast forward the next little part here as we're driving through the park, and then I'll show you the dog park. Is your dog itching to burn off a little bit of exercise? Here we are at the Magnuson Park off-leash dog park area, and it is Saturday morning and it is very popular. There's not much parking left out here on the strip, but as you can see, there's so much space in the park that there's still room for all the dogs to run around and have a good time. Big dogs, little dogs, everyone seems to be getting along. And this park is situated in a beautiful, large wilderness area. There are beaches on Lake Washington. There are wetlands where you can go and hike around on leash. And then there's this area if your dog still needs to take the edge off, come on down and run them around down here. Now we are right near the luxury real estate neighborhood, I would say, of Windermere, which I was just showing my kids. That's where my grandparents used to live. So we're right adjacent to Windermere, and the Windermere Homeowners Association Swim Club and some of the waterfront properties in Windermere are pretty much adjacent to this park. So this is a wonderful area. We're in Northeast Seattle, just north of the University of Washington, and the park is open to anyone. This is a public park, so whether or not you live in Windermere, you can come. All Seattle is welcome. So bring your dog, bring your coffee, get out and run around. We're here picking blackberries. It's blackberry season. It's going to be a warm day, so we're hoping to get out to the lake later on ourselves and do some swimming. Oh, aren't the doggies cute? I love just hanging out with dogs. They have such a peaceful, calm energy here out on the water. And I hope this tour of Windermere gave you at least a little bit of an idea of what it's like in that neighborhood. It's definitely posh in some ways, but it's not uber over the top. If you're looking in Windermere, also consider looking in Laurelhurst. They're right next to each other. They have a little bit different character, but in many ways, similar price point, water views, some nice homes, some not as nice. I did a home tour of a $2 million home in that area, which I'll see if I can put some clips of that into the Laurelhurst video. So check that one out. If you want something nicer, I would say a step up in the same area as the Broadmoor community, which is by the Arboretum by the University of Washington, a little bit to the south, and that would be a great place to check out as well. If you're looking for something a little bit less expensive, then you can go out of these HOA, CC&R protected communities and go into the surrounding areas, Sandpoint Way, Ravenna, Wedgwood, kind of that whole Northeast Seattle quadrant is going to have similar location and benefits without having the HOA and the associated higher price tag, especially with those water view properties. So I hope this has been great. Thank you so much for watching. Click around to see what some of the other videos and neighborhood tours are, and come check out my website, homeproassociates.com. I have been working on videos and articles profiling a lot of the different Seattle neighborhoods. So if you want to scroll through there and take a look at all your options for a tour, that would be just great. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any questions about these areas or want to suggest or request another different tour. And I hope you have a great day. I'll see you on the next video. It's Emily Cressey. Thanks so much for watching.